I'm just going to do a little bit of a screen repair. They got a little hole down here which they plugged with a poor stuffy. So according to the instructions, this is just like fiberglass tape basically for repairing this sort of thing. They say that with the hole, I just need to cut a square out so it's clean and not all jagged like this, so just trim it back, and then I can cut a piece of tape to go over that area. Very simple. When I originally thought of doing this, I thought it'd be a lot more difficult, but I didn't know they made tape like this. Looks good. Man, that stuff works really easy. This job wasn't really on my to-do list, but just seemed a shame to have a freshly painted cabin and then see a little stuffy stuck in the window. I'm sure one of their kids probably wants that back, so now it's patched, and little piggy or whatever this is free to go now. Yeah, nice. All that's left to do is I just took a walk around the cabin to make sure everything looked nice, and there's one little spot up here that I think it only got 2 coats instead of the proper 3, so I'm just going to touch up that little area, and this project should be done, which is really nice because I've only got today that's sunny and I still have a lot of work to do at my cabin, so I'm going to try and get as much of that as I can done before the rain comes in. I'm sure I could figure out a way this time to tarp or something to keep working, but I've got a few things that I picked up in town yesterday to do with firewood, and then, as you guys know, I just offloaded all of the hardwood that my uncle left me. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys a bit more about that when we get over there, but for now, just need to finish up this job before I can start on the next. I got my hands on a couple new tools, including this axe. I forget the actual name of this style, but I was talking about it a bit earlier in one of my videos, and I was just testing it out on this log. As you can see, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. and it works really, really well. What you use this for is for either hollowing out logs, or just my main use, at least for now, will be straightening them. It's just a lot faster than using a normal axe, at least for me. So I can use this, go along, and then use my new hand planer, which I'll show you, my new draw knife. And that way I should be able to fix a lot faster the logs. We're running into that issue with some of these ones, since they have a lot of branches, where when I would lay them down, even though the notches fit perfectly, they would still stick up because of all these knots on the bottom of the log. So hopefully with this I can fix that problem, but I'm still trying to learn how to use it properly. It's kind of an interesting shape and size, so you can see it just really digs in and removes a lot of wood really fast. Yeah, awesome tool to add to my toolkit, and this thing will definitely come in handy as we continue working on the cabin. And then here is my new draw knife. This is going to be really nice and definitely help out the process, because the one I was using prior is an antique, so it's really old and it's hard to sharpen, and then the handles are a bit loose. So aside from the fact of it not really working well, I wanted to get a new one so then I didn't have to use that one, since it is an antique. That's just going to go up on the wall somewhere and try and keep that thing in one piece. So this new one, it's got really nice handles. The blade's incredibly sharp, so that should speed up the process a little bit. Just a absolutely beautiful piece as well. It's really nice that I'm able to get all of these, and like I said, building up my toolkit, because these are really well crafted tools that I'll be able to keep for many, many years and use up here, but then also on my own property whenever that day comes. I want to give this one a little try because I haven't even used it yet, actually. Those tools are definitely going to make it a whole lot easier to work on the logs, and I'm really looking forward to working on the cabin again. There's a few things I need to do before I can fully dedicate myself to that. Some projects that are a little more time sensitive. I'm done painting the cabin now, so I can start working over here. But I was in town yesterday where I picked up a few tools, and then also some materials, because as you know, we've been having really weird weather where it's hot and then it's cold, and on those cold days it reminds me that I really need to start working on getting a lot of firewood stored for the winter time, because that's going to burn through really fast and I'm going to need a lot of it, or else I won't be able to stay up all winter, which is something I really want to do. So I bought some cinder blocks and some wood, so then I can build these little firewood holders that I saw on Pinterest. So I'll go and pick those up. They're just in the Jeep. And then I got fireplace cement, which the guy at Home Hardware said would work for in between my chimney, because when I fit them together they're totally fine, and then I screwed them down and they're totally fine, but they kind of shifted, and now that they have those screws I can't really take them out and adjust them, and even if I did there would be holes. So it's just this little like tiny gap in between one of the seams, but every time I try and light a fire with that air escape, the room kind of fills with smoke and the fire doesn't really light properly because it's not getting the proper draw. So I'm going to use that cement to kind of go around that seam, and hopefully that will seal it up and fix it. As well as that, I'm expecting a load of wood to be arriving at the marina any day now, and I'll need to make sure those logs are off. So first of all, I can start peeling, but then I can use the barge to load that wood. I'll show you what that's for a little bit later. And then finally, there's obviously some staining I need to do to finish up the room that I sleep in. And then my family chimney I need to replace because that one's rusted out. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and all of it is pretty, it has to be done sooner than late because, it's almost the beginning of fall, and almost all of these projects have to do with heating. So I'm trying to get all of these done as soon as I can so that I can really dedicate myself to the cabin, because I at least want to be able to start putting on the roof before the snow falls, because once the roof's on, then any work I need to do inside and stuff like that I can do. It's not that I couldn't, but I would prefer not to put on the roof in the dead of winter. So yeah, it's been a really busy couple weeks, and it's going to be an even busier couple weeks going ahead with my sister's wedding and all this work that has to be done. So I think that's enough chatter, and let's just get right to it. Whew. Well, looks like the wood load I was expecting came a little bit earlier than I originally thought. So, man, those cinder blocks are heavy. I'll have to unload those logs ASAP so that I can load that on, hopefully before it rains. It's supposed to rain tonight, and I have a lot to do today, so I might not be able to get around to it, but we'll see. You can see it back there. It's quite a lot, so it's definitely too much for me to take on this load, and too much to take on a little Legend unless I did a couple loads. So it'd probably just end up being faster using the barge. Whew. Still got 3 more cinder blocks to go. If you guys watched my video where I was installing my own chimney, then you already know how to do this, but I'll explain it again for those of you who haven't. These are a little bit older, so they're kind of bent, so it might be a little more difficult to do. But basically, if I can spread these ones apart, you can see that there's 2 lips. So this one's got a little groove that one runs along the inside here. And you basically just want to bend these to fit inside, and then they'll just kind of pop together. With a bend like this, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but let's see if I can do it fairly easily here. So you kind of want to press them together and push down like this until this side's connected. You just want to hold it together and work along. A lot of the time you'll get it almost to the end and then it becomes really difficult and pops out. So we'll see if I can do this in one go or not. Yeah, this end is going to be the difficult one. Actually went a lot smoother than the first time, and then we'll go along and carefully round it out because you want it to fit into the other socket. You can see the grooves here will slide into the other one at this point. That one actually fit together quite nicely. So yeah, I'm going to do this to a few of the other pieces and then we'll take it over and install it. Unfortunately, as I got all the chimney pieces off and went to start installing the new one, it turns out that our little L piece, or T piece I believe it's called, was for a different size of pipe. So I'll just block off this area with something and then next time I'm in town get a new piece that's a 6-inch and not an 8-inch, so that all of these pipes can fit on. Once I get that piece, it shouldn't take long at all. We'll definitely have it before we really need it. Although today is so much colder than yesterday. I was sweating carrying all those cinder blocks yesterday, and then today it's like 10. So even in this, it's still pretty chilly if you're not constantly moving around and working on something. So I'm gonna keep going around and working on something so I don't get cold. Wow, we are already getting some leaves turning red, which is both exciting and kind of scary at the same time, since there's so much work to be done with all this and that and all that and that, and then obviously getting firewood. But the wind's really picking up now and it's getting pretty cold, and I'm starting to feel a bit of rain. It's been about an hour, which is the recommended time to let that dry on the chimney. So I think I'm going to try and get a fire going, which I have to do kind of slowly, so then it tempers it, I guess. So just light a little fire and then progressively expand it. One thing I forgot to mention is a couple of my light bulbs went out, so I went to the store when I was getting all this chimney stuff and the chimney pieces for our family cabin and got some new ones, which I got like 60 watt like amber lights. And obviously when I'm filming on a phone like right now, it makes everything a lot brighter than it is, but especially with these two walls, which I've completely finished staining, it just makes it so cozy in here, and I absolutely love it. So I'm looking forward to finishing the rest of the cabin with that stain. Let's get a fire going and it'll make it just that much more cozy. Right here you can see the difference between the new stain, which is just lightly darker, and then the original wood. I think it looks a lot better and I really like how it turned out. So I've got all this wall done and then the top part of this wall, but I just need to do that wall and the back wall by my bed. Since I can't do my family's chimney right now, I'm just gonna quickly fix mine. All the pipes and stuff are good, obviously, since I just put it in this spring, but there's slight gaps in between this one here where the screws went in. I kind of pushed it back, and I went to Home Hardware and talked to somebody about it, and they recommended I use a little bit of this just to plug those gaps. Usually I wouldn't want to do something like this just because if I ever have to take it apart, then it'll take a really long time. But since this is brand new, and by the time I actually will need to put a new chimney pipe in, it'll be years and years and years from now, so it doesn't really matter anyways. But I'm just going to use a little tiny bit of this, and then hopefully it should help with the pull and airflow. Because right now, as you probably noticed, whenever I'd light a fire earlier, it would just, like, a little bit of smoke would leak out of here and leak out of here, so I'd have to have a window open, which was fine when it wasn't too cold. But, you know, now that it's getting, today was 10 and tomorrow is going to be 8 Celsius, I definitely can't have a window open. So this should help with that. I know you guys can't really see it, but there's no other place for me to put the camera. Okay, that should be good for the bottom. It's just micro amounts just to fill in the little gaps. While the chimney's drying, I'm going to quickly pull the boat around and offload the materials for building my wood storage. It shouldn't take too long. It's only like those 6 cinder blocks and a couple of 2x4s that are about 8 feet long. I'm still not positive where I'm going to be putting that, either on the side of the cabin or the front of the cabin here, or maybe one on both. Wherever it has to be, I don't want it to be in the way, but I also don't want to have to, you know, go out of my way to get wood when it's -40 out. So I'll try and figure out what the optimal spot is. Yeah, here you can see is some wood I tried to light earlier, but it didn't allow me to, so we'll see if it works better now, and if that fixed the problem. Hopefully it did. If it's not that, then I'm not sure what it would be. We'll see how it goes. That seems to have worked. Everything, like as soon as I lit the fire starter, I knew that was what the problem was. I could see that the flames started moving backwards, and it was actually getting the proper suction to keep the fire going. And yeah, now I have a beautiful fire. There's no smoke leakage or anything. I put my smoke detector right by it, so if there's anything, I would be able to tell right away. And there's absolutely nothing. I'm going to sit here and read for a little bit and then see if it clears up. The book that I just started reading, because my parents recommended it, is The Mad Trapper. Yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. My parents really enjoyed it. It's a true story about surviving in the Canadian wilderness, and pretty sad story too, but I'm looking forward to giving it a try. I like how they have all the old photos of the real people at the time that this all happened. Hey, buddy. It's kind of chilly. It's even colder than yesterday, so Lando has one of his jackets on. And he's just running around chasing squirrels to keep warm. Right, buddy? Yeah. It's only like 7 Celsius right now, which is pretty cold. But luckily I got my Icelandic wool sweater and my Carhartt jacket and overalls, so I'm alright. I know you looking at them. So, I'm not sure if you can hear very well. I know it's probably pretty windy, but I'm just going to place the cinder blocks out and kind of get a rough idea of how I want to do this. I think I'm just going to do one cinder block on each side and have like a 1-row firewood stack here. And this will be like my quick access stuff. And then on the side is where I'll do the really big one. Well, there you guys have it. It's a pretty simple system, but it worked really well. I think the only touch-ups I might do is to add a cross base to these two sides, just to hold them in place a little bit better. But once the wood kind of stacks up higher, it'll hold this whole thing together. The nice thing about this style of doing it is it doesn't take any nails, and it all can be taken apart and used later in the spring if I want to. And it's actually a lot wider than I was expecting, so we'll be able to fit 2 rows. And yeah, I'm just really happy with the way it turned out. All I need to do now is to actually get some wood to fill this. I might also cut these pieces a little bit shorter, but at the same time I'm kind of fine with how high they are because I'm going to need a lot of wood. So as much storage as I can possibly get, I'll take. Starting to feel droplets of rain again. It's supposed to rain all tomorrow, which is Sunday. So I think I'll call the video here. I know a lot of those projects I wasn't able to finish, which kind of bothers me, but I'll head into town tomorrow while it's raining and get the proper pieces for that chimney and everything else. And then also load that wood across so I can start working on it with my uncle on Monday. Big busy weekend next week, but we're gonna get a lot done and just hammer through a lot of these projects, so I'm looking forward to it. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and a big thank you to those of you who have been leaving comments. It seems like I'm getting more and more each day with tons of information and tons of suggestions, and I really appreciate it, so thank you for that. As always, a special thank you to those of you who have subscribed to my Patreon channel. Your support really means a lot, and it helps me to work on all these projects and keep doing what I love doing, which is bringing you guys new content each week. So again, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week.